this forum. Good morning. Welcome to this live transmission of the second Trilateral Forum, the Development of Workforce in North America, within the framework on competitiveness committee of the USMCA, CUSMA. The government of the three countries agreed to participate in order to face the challenges of the region regarding the development of workforce. To this regard, we agreed to perform trilateral fora in order to identify the best practices and other experiences in the field, in order to identify specific activities which may be developed in the United States, organized with the support of the George W. Washington and NASCO Presidential Center. The first forum, Dallas, Texas, December last year. We, as Ministry of the Economy, is organizing this second meeting in a virtual format. It is wonderful to see that Canada will hold the third forum in October 2022. This is being transmitted live with simultaneous translation into English and French. We are going to give the floor to Luz Maria de la Mora, Under Secretary of Foreign Trade of the Ministry of Economy. Dr. de la Mora, you have the floor now. Good morning. Thank you for joining to this live transmission. I would like to welcome you to the opening ceremony of the second Trilateral Forum on the Development of Workforce in North America. This event has the simultaneous translation services into Spanish, English, and French. First, I would like to welcome the distinguished officials of the Canadian, U.S., and Mexican governments who have joined us this morning, as well as the representatives of the educational institutions who are present here. I would like to welcome and thank the leadership that has been exercised by Tatiana Cloutier, Secretary of Economy, as well as Luisa Maria Alcalde, Secretary of Labor and Social Welfare. They have been driving forces, not only for their productive integration, but also for the promotion of the labor sector in North America. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to welcome Jorge Shields Wilshot, Director of Technological Services and Training of the Colegio Nacional de Educación Profesional Técnica, CONALEP. Rodrigo Rojas Navarrete, Director General of the National Council for Standardization and Certification of Labor Competencies, CONOCER. I would like to welcome both institutions for the support they have provided to us in order to fulfill our mission in terms of labor training in North America. And I would like to welcome as well our colleagues from Canada and the United States, Eric Walsh, Vice Minister for the Americas for the Global Affairs Canada. Thank you, Eric Walsh, for being with us this morning. And I would like to welcome Diane O'Brien, Vice Minister, Deputy Vice Minister of the United States for North America of the U.S. Trade Office, USTR. Thank you, Dan, for being with us this morning. It's an honor for us here at the Ministry of Economy to be able to hold such a trilateral forum, which is the continuation, as was explained in the beginning, of the efforts that we started last year, that we launched for the first time with the U.S. and Canadian governments in order to move forward in a core topic for competitiveness in North America, which is the strengthening of our workforce. The economically active population in Mexico, the United States, and Canada altogether is over 243 million people. Therefore, working in the development thereof implies making a contribution to the prosperity of the region, which is one of the main objectives of the USMCA CUSMA agreement. This complies with the responsibilities that we have under this agreement, both at the second meeting of the Free Trade Commission, performed at the ministerial level on last July the 8th, as well as with the Committee of Competitiveness of CUSMA USMCA. Among the objectives of TEMEC is to identify actions for the development of competencies in human capital in North America to be implemented by the governments of the three countries, together with other relevant stakeholders. The first effort was done under the support being the United States a host at Dallas, Texas, with the performance of the first forum on the development of workforce in North America, where I had the opportunity to participate December last year. Canada has also started all the preparations for a meeting that will be held in October, and today Mexico is complying with its commitment of implementing such a trilateral event for the Mexican government. Holding such an event is in line with the economic and social development agendas of President López Obrador that want to leave everybody, not to leave anyone behind. For Mexico, workers are the force that moves the country. And in order to ensure that the workforce in North America is precisely at the center of our project and based on the requirements of the industry for the future, we know that it is fundamental to pay attention and to get involved as governments, educational institutions, productive sector, and civil society of the three countries. This forum is a clear example of the collaboration that we required and that we are developing now in order to address these challenges. The representatives of the industry, the academia, and certifying authorities of labor skills of the three countries that have joined us this morning will share the good practices throughout the day, as well as ideas, innovative ideas that will act as guidelines in the work to be performed. This forum is a three-panel forum centered in topics which are of great interest for us. First, the certifications of labor skills. Second, the different dual programs with the different institutional educations. And third, the apprenticeship schemes through professional practices and internships. We have more than 20 panelists of the three countries who will be describing their experience in the development of programs, as well as activities that have already demonstrated to be successful in order to be able to be an element of replication throughout North America. They are going to mention also the pitfalls that they have faced in order to improve the skills and to ensure that the workforce may have the necessary competencies for the economy of the future. In addition to this, tomorrow, we're going to hold different working tables per topic in order to compile proposals of possible actions that the governments of the three countries may adopt and implement. For the Ministry of Economy, it's a privilege to organize this event together with the authorities of the labor sector and academic institutions of the three countries. We thank you very much for your presence and thank you very much for your commitment with the welfare of the workers throughout Latin America, throughout North America. We will continue setting the basis for the development and welfare in North America in order to be able to have better prepared workforce. I hope that this forum will result into good practices for everybody. Thank you very much. Dr. De La Mora, thank you very much. Now I would like Jorge Schill, head of Academic Exchange of the CONALEP, to take the floor. He's representing the Director General, Enrique Guerrera. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Secretary Cloutier, Secretary of Economy. Thank you, Luisa Maria Alcalde. Dear friend, Rodrigo Rojas, Doctora Luz María de la Mora, I would like to welcome all of you, all the members of the Presidium, as well as all the guests who have joined us this morning, either on site or virtually from Canada, Mexico, and the US. It's an honor for CONALEP to be part of this very important Trilateral Forum, and I would like to thank, especially on behalf of our Director General, Dr. Enrique Herrera, such a honorable invitation. Let me describe CONALEP. CONALEP is a mid-high educational institution that provides a technical degree in 7 different areas of or fields of knowledge. We have 63 technical careers, namely in fields like data science, artificial intelligence, air and space industry, automotive, manufacturing, logistics, railroad transportation, and we have more than 310,000 students between 14 and 18 years old, and a template of more than 16,000 professors for CONALEP. This is a very important initiative because our fundamental mission is, on the one hand, to provide a productive sector with the necessary skilled and updated human resources based on the needs of the current and future labor world, as well as to support and guide the design of a life plan for each of the young students studying at CONALEP, and help them, I want to underline this, to develop a life plan, to have clarity on where they are and what they want to do with their lives. This favors competitiveness of the companies that want to get installed in the country and those who are already installed. And this strengthens the possibility and feasibility of our alumni in order to find a job. In spite of the fact that CONALEP was created as an educational institution aligned to the needs of jobs and the productive needs in the country, now we are starting to foster a very productive strategic alliance with the Ministry of Economy, as well as the Ministry of Labor, as a result of the support provided by the secretaries present here. They are generating these spaces that favor agreements and exchanges, and I am sure that we're going to get very positive results. The lockdown and the pandemic have had very complicated effects in the life of all the Mexicans, as well as those who live in the North American territory. And we have been recovering of these problems. However, the recovery of the quality of jobs for young people, equity between men and women, and the level of jobs offered among the different students and the regional offering are still challenges for Mexico. While 84.6% of those who finish a career in the automotive industry are already working, only 13% of those who have a degree in construction are working now. And more than 50% of those that have a degree in computer equipment maintenance have an income which is lower than 4,000 pesos. However, and based on studies made by the CONALEP, we have identified that in spite of the pandemic and their consequences, more than 50% of our future students with a degree feel that they are well prepared to be successful once they complete their studies. Being optimistic will have to make us open spaces where they can really develop their talent and continue with their growth, both at work as well as in higher education. We have turned the vision of this geographical area with high capacities of technological development and innovation, and we know that generating wealth and distributing in an equal way all the benefits will be for the benefit of everybody. Dr. Enrique holds that the time has come for us to educate with excellence and relevancy all the young people and offer them training in the vanguard to all the workers in order to close the skill gaps that still persist today among the three countries. We are very happy to hold such a dialogue with all the different public and private stakeholders so that these challenges require the joint investment in the development of workforce in North America. And I would love to underscore the joint investment of the three countries for the development of the workforce. And this requires of assuming specific responsibilities as educational institutions, government, students, industry, so as to design and create the new programs, the new curricula, in order to have an adequate link with the productive sector. And from this perspective, our recommendation is that we will center our efforts in the development of regional projects with the participation of entrepreneurs, of national governments, the academia, local communities, as we are already doing with the Ministry of Economy in very important affairs. The first one is the industry for the manufacturing of semiconductors in the northwest of Mexico, namely Baja California, with several companies like Skyworks. And in the southeast, with the creation of the logistics and railroad transportation career, the creation of a training and innovation center for railroads, together with Canadian companies like Alstom that represent for the South-Southeast region an element of great importance, and that will require workforce talent that today the CONALEP, together with the Ministry of Economy and Ministry of Labor, are preparing. Therefore, an adequate roadmap should include first identifying the requirements and features of the regional workforce that we all are committed to train, but it also has to be coherent with the lifeline of a young man or woman, because we as educational institutions, we have to strengthen them. They have clarity in mind of what they want, and the companies must also have clarity on how they can help young people to fulfill their dreams. Even though we share a vision, it is also convenient to state what each of the countries conceives as their own problems in the education of the young people, as well as to identify which are the tools that we have available in order to fight this type of problems. We can move forward by studying, and we have to start by studying in a collaborative way the mid and long-term scope of the technical careers. First, we have to identify which will be the public policy guidelines. Second, to reorient public financing. And third, to extend the participation of private funds in order to implement new teaching models for the development of workforce. Like dual education, for example. This is one of the models that allows for the early inclusion of young people in the companies as trainees or apprentices, not as workers, so that they can get a thorough education. I talk about subnational parts, ecological parts, and technical competencies that they learn at the different companies. And this has to be aligned with the industries. And just as we have seen in different states in the country, this dual education, in addition to helping young people to fulfill their curriculum, it identifies gaps and builds possibilities of certifying in labor skills or competencies, just as the CONOCET is doing, which are specific and aligned to the needs in order to complement the technical education of young people. I would like to close my words by telling you on behalf of CONALEP and Dr. Enrique Cuerrera, we are fully committed to seriously participate with seriousness and persistency in the definition of the curricula and the implementation thereof. Thank you very much, and we will be attentive to the results of this forum.
Yes, now, Professor Rodrigo Rojas Navarrete, Director General of Labor Competence certification. You have the floor. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Yes, Mrs. Tatiana Cloutier Carrillo, Secretary of Economy, Luisa Maria Alcalde, Secretary of Labor of Mexico, and also the Director of Foreign Trade, Daniel O'Brien, and Associate Commercial Representative, and Derek Walsh, Director General for North America of Global Affairs in Canada, and the head of the Studies and Academic Exchange Unit here in Mexico. What a pleasure to be here with you today. I want to thank everyone for inviting my council on labor competence to participate here today in this second Trilateral Forum on the development of labor force in North America. Through different modalities, we're going to be approaching issues that are not only fundamental, they are part of the main objectives of our institution. We can see that the cultural, commercial, economic, and political relationship of Canada, the US, and Mexico has a very rich and vast history through which we have analyzed historic events that constitute the synergy among our three countries. The nature itself of those events has favored the structuring of the scaffolding that has resulted in various strategic partnerships, agreements, accords like USMCA, TEMEC, COSMA, and this was started in 1994, the previous one, NAFTA. Well, as of the agreement going into effect, NAFTA 27 years ago, as of the project to modernize technical education and training, the national competence system was created. It is coordinated, and it is coordinated by the Conocer Institute by its Spanish acronym, including all the economic sectors, and the head of the sector is the Public Education Ministry of Mexico. Now then, taking into account TEMEC going into effect at the end of 2020, even with the pandemic that delayed many of the benefits. Now we see how imperative it is to double efforts to comply with all the objectives set forth in our agreement among our three countries for the benefit and well-being of our populations. This is exactly what the Competitiveness Committee of TEMEC has set out to accomplish. We want to do unprecedented things that hadn't been done in NAFTA, improving competitiveness of the region and promote the well-being of workers. It is exactly on this item that we see the TEMEC objectives of the Committee of Competitiveness, and we fully agree in this. Through certification of labor competence, we seek for people to have the necessary skills to face up to these very fast changes that are taking place in the labor market. We want people to increase their productivity, to increase competitiveness of companies, and for that to result in more economic growth and more profits for workers, men and women workers, so that they can access better living conditions. Friends, we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that we are having and looking into results of international studies on the future of the labor world. All the studies coincide that more than half of workers will have to go back to get some new training to reconvert their skills. Many of the jobs we now have will be disappearing, or they will go through drastic changes. This is because of changes in technology. Implications of this situation are evident today, since half of Mexican employers have difficulties to find the appropriate personnel and staff to cover different job positions, although there are over 2 million people looking for a job. Therefore, Conocer, my institute, becomes even more relevant because the best way to support training initiatives to ensure training processes as well is through certification. And that certification is granted after an evaluation process through which the person should show that people should show that they know how to apply the skills and the knowledge they have obtained, and those assessments or evaluations have a benchmark, which is the competence standard, which is developed with the productive sectors of the country and developed by people who are experts on each one of those fields. That's why we want competences to be the common language in the labor market, not only in Mexico, but also internationally. In this administration, we are betting on certifications for them to be recognized in other countries. In this sense, we have important progress in terms of the Pacific Alliance, where we are trying to have the official recognition of certification of competences among member countries, Chile, Peru, Colombia, and Mexico, the Pacific Alliance countries. And this project has been considered as a pioneer worldwide by the European Union. And we're getting that support from the European Union, and they want to be part of this as soon as possible. That's why CONOCER wants to disseminate these actions, and it wants to turn these actions into actions with a validity. Dear secretaries, friends, I confirm the commitment we have to continue participating in different initiatives and actions coming from the Competitiveness Committee. You can count on CONOCER as a strategic partner to accomplish all the objectives we have set out to accomplish. Together, we can contribute towards compliance of everything that has been proposed by our President, Andrés Manuel López Obrador. No one lagging behind, no one left outside, because only through institutional work, working in teams with our partners, are we going to be able to turn our accomplishments into direct benefits for the well-being of citizens in our countries. So all I want to do now is extend sincere gratitude to all of you for your attention. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rojas. Now let's give the floor to Mr. Walsh. Eric, you have the floor. It is with us virtually. Please, you have the floor, Eric.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. First, let me express my appreciation to Mexico for organizing and hosting this second Trilateral Forum on Workforce Development, fulfilling a commitment made by the CUSMA Competitiveness Committee. The importance of this topic is underlined by the involvement of Secretaries Alcalde and Cloutier. It is a true honor to be on the same stage, even if it is virtual, and so important to have both CONALEP and CONOCER with us as well for this topic. I wanted to acknowledge my esteemed Mexican and American colleagues as well. It's great to see you again, Luz Maria and Dan, and to recognize the trilateral panelists and participants who have come together to contribute to this event. And thanks to Lydia Antonio and everyone on her team at the Ministry of Economy for putting this together today and tomorrow. North America should be the most competitive region in the world. Our economies are complementary and our industries are advantaged because of the integrated service sectors, supply networks, and manufacturing platforms that we have created together. North America being competitive in turn underpins not only the future prosperity of our three countries, but also our collective security and sustainability. We will all benefit from deeper integration with trusted partners that share these core values and principles. And no three countries fit this definition better than Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And workforce development is a key element of competitiveness. So I'm really pleased that we're going to be discussing labor competency certifications, the dual education model in North America, and models of apprenticeship programs and internships over the course of today and tomorrow. These topics continue to grow in importance, especially when we consider the wider context of North American economic interdependence and, of course, competitiveness. North America has an extensive labor pool, and it remains a magnet for talent from every corner of the globe. But the demand for workers with the necessary skills, particularly in trades and advanced manufacturing, that demand continues to exceed the supply. In general, the trades are having difficulty attracting talent, and that's particularly true for underrepresented groups, despite the demand and, frankly, the well-paying jobs that are available in these sectors. So training, upskilling, and reskilling are and will continue to be essential elements of workforce development. Just as our companies and outside investors need a workforce that they can rely on, our workers in turn need the chance to gain skills that will lead to desirable, profitable careers. Governments need to cooperate with industry and educational institutions to ensure that job training, co-op and apprenticeship opportunities align not only with the current job market, but also the jobs of the future. And I really applaud Mexico for being focused on this imperative in the upcoming program. As was mentioned, Canada looks forward to hosting you in Winnipeg, Manitoba on October 19th. Our partners at Red River College have an excellent program in store, and we're excited to welcome you to the gateway to the Canadian West. A key element of Canada's upcoming workforce development event will be to add a dimension to our discussions that brings into focus the nexus of our climate commitments and workforce development needs of sectors that will help us transition to a lower carbon future. These are fast-growing sectors such as sustainable transportation, renewable energy, and clean technology. And they are not only underpinned by high-tech innovation, but also advanced manufacturing capacity, natural resource supply chains, and myriad technical skills. In some cases, they also present progressive visions and progressive corporate cultures. And these sectors are not only essential for reaching our climate commitments, but they also present opportunities for women, Indigenous peoples, youth, and other underrepresented groups to get in on the ground floor of careers that will provide stability and professional growth and result in positive economic, social, and environmental contributions throughout their careers. In Winnipeg, we're also looking to explore effective ways of supporting those who are most impacted by the transition to a lower carbon economy. Green transitions, to be successful, must also be just transitions. So as part of this, we plan to continue the dialogue on standards for trilateral skills certifications, and that's something we hope will provide a common thread connecting the events in Dallas last December, Mexico City today and tomorrow, and Winnipeg in October. These three workforce development events will allow the Competitiveness Committee to reflect on the stakeholder input received, the new networks hopefully created, and the knowledge developed to allow us to establish a focused approach to our work in 2023. And I very much look forward to this challenge and the discussions over the next 2 days. Thanks again for having me.
Now we have Daniel O'Brien. We give you for what a pleasure having you representing the United States. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I would love to be in Mexico with you, but I likewise send you my greetings from Washington. Thank you so much. Now let me give the floor to Luisa Maria Alcalde, Labor Secretary of Mexico. Thank you so much. What a pleasure to participate today in the second Trilateral Forum on the development of labor force in North America. I want to greet and tell you I'm so happy to be here in the Ministry of Economy, Secretary Tatiana Cloutier, Undersecretary Luz Maria de la Mura, Eric Walsh. Virtually, I greet you all the way to Canada, and Daniel O'Brien. Thank you so much for being with us. And Rodrigo Rojas, who heads Conocer, and Jorge Schultz, representing CONALEP. In this opening session, we're going to be starting in a few minutes a fundamental discussion vis-a-vis TEMEC, CUSMA, or USMCA. This is a window of opportunity if we know how to capitalize advantages, because this covers one of the biggest economic regions of the world. But unlike NAFTA, now TEMEC opens a new opportunity for us to see this commercial partnership also with a vision of well-being to protect people's rights, protecting labor rights, for instance, especially, not only commercial rights. Now, in terms of productive chains in our region, of course, it is fundamental to have a well-prepared and trained labor force, trained in labor competences demanded by industries and companies, particularly linked to our trade agreement. As already said here, Mexico has been moving forward at different levels. For instance, Rodrigo has already spoken about skills certification, and that type of certification we want it not only to be recognized in our country, but also to be recognized with our trade peers. And in terms of experiences of CONALEP in dual education, with the SECATIs, those centers that we have throughout Mexico, they have a vision to understand needs on skills and competences that are necessary for each one of the corners of our country. And we want to train young people in that, not only for companies to be able to count on that labor force, but for that young people to be able to get a job in their different regions and places of origin. I wanted to highlight two elements that have been fundamental. One has to do with the grants or scholarships, high school scholarships. This is for youth not to drop out of school, for them to continue with their training and their schooling so that they may conclude their studies. Now, another one, which is perhaps the main program or one of the main programs of the Mexican administration under the Labor Ministry. They may be trained in companies, for companies to be designing a study plan, a training plan, and for this year of training, for them to be able to acquire skills and competences of industries themselves. Even this is not a dual education program, since in this program we don't have an education element, we do have a guiding principle. Many of these young people who have studied already junior high or high school, but many university students go out in the labor market and they need that experience and training. Just to give you an idea of the dimension and magnitude of this program, until now, 2.3 million young people have been trained throughout Mexico. 2.3 million in large institutions linked to TEMEC, small, medium-sized companies, and also micro enterprises. This is the majority, and this is the reality in Mexico. And we have a high percentage of those young people that are women, Youth Building the Future program. We want them to be trained to this program and decide, because as Jorge already said, this has to do with the life plan of these young people so that they can decide the competences, future plans, and skills they want to go into. Just to give you an idea, INEGI, which is the Geography and Statistical Institute of Mexico, it does assessments on national surveys. INEGI has been doing some surveys, and we've been able to get information saying that participating in the program Youth Building the Future gives you twice as much possibilities to get a job than a young person not participating in this program, Youth Building the Future. More than half of them can either stay at the places where they were trained or get a job once they leave that place. This just shows what it means to be getting hands-on training and practical training. And of course, the people that are participating in this program are training our young people with no cost, because they know they can find the ideal profiles for the spaces in the labor force. This program strengthens the trade agreement with the US and Canada. And this, which is a priority that has to do with having the labor force to strengthen our region in a very competitive manner. Undoubtedly, we are fully convinced of this. I mean, this intention, this objective of being more competitive and strengthening the region has to be coupled by better living conditions. The young persons, if they find in their training and their competence preparation, if they find they can continue strengthening their skills, well, this means better options for them, which also means better remuneration, better wages, better salaries for those young people. If I can go to a technical school, for instance, I don't have to go to the university level, but if I can go to a technical schools, there will be many more young people going to technical schools, and people will be making a better salary. That's why we're convinced the ideal way to support this type of efforts is to continue increasing salaries, strengthening collective bargaining, and for companies to find a solution in improving their labor force to attract new talent. For instance, some regions of the country may say, well, I don't find the ideal profiles I'm looking for, or I have a lot of turnover. And sometimes answers may be found with increasing salaries, strengthening labor rights through the collective bargaining process. This is one of the objectives we've been seeking to accomplish at the Labor Ministry with the Ministry of the Economy. And this is also one of the pillars of the trade agreement with the US and Canada, a specific labor clause to strengthen and turn those benefits into a reality for the region and for the entire country.
Congratulations for this forum. And of course, you have full support of the Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare. I would like to thank Secretary Alcalde. And finally, I would like to give the floor to Tatiana Cutle Carrillo, Secretary of Economy. Good morning. I would like to welcome everybody who is on and offline, those who are on site as well. I would like to welcome Eric, Daniel, as well as Rodrigo from Conocer and Jorge from CONALEP. my dear friend and colleague, Luis Alcalde, and Dr. De La Mora. Thank you very much for being part of this second Trilateral Forum on the Development of Workforce in North America. The main objective is to make North America continue being more competitive, to face the challenges not only of the pandemic, but also the war that we all are facing, and that has caused a disruption of supply chains and has posed new challenges in all the labor and educational fields. If we want to continue being competitive, we will continue investing in the development of education, but also in the development of workforce. No doubt these times make it necessary to run faster, and whenever we may have an institution like CONOLEP and CONOCER as allies is wonderful, because they help you be practical, implement things, not only have the theoretical knowledge, but also to be able to carry that knowledge into practice and then certify. Certification is like an entry ticket to to better jobs and more wonderful things. I recall when they were saying the salary or wage that you receive when you are studying or working at the mid-high level, no doubt, because we have seen this in many fields, that the moment you get a certification, your salary increases, because we are demonstrating that the knowledge exists, ready to be implemented. And even more so if such a certification is an international certification from different arenas, not only TEMEC. We have a direct alliance with the United States and Canada, as well as this trilateral alliance, where we are going to promote workforce in this high-level dialogue with Canada and the United States. We are working in the development of the workforce for semiconductors. The use of technology that grows at an accelerated pace makes it necessary to be updating our skills very fast. And what is it that we are going to do for such a reconversion? Because we ourselves, in the use of some technologies, we need to get adapted at an accelerated pace. Therefore, this forum is even more important. And with Canada, we are working in everything that has to do with innovation. And if we are not capable of having a workforce ready to face innovation, it will be very hard for us to continue being competitive vis-a-vis other regions in the world. The dual system offers an opportunity, as previous speakers explained, of getting in and out the theoretical and practical fields to be better. And it is wonderful to do this with the Ministry of Labor through the Jóvenes Construyendo el Futuro project, where we have the possibility to continue receiving a salary, and that is no limitation neither for those who are training them nor for the trainees. It is clear that the alliance among the academia, governments, and private sectors is the best driving force to be able to achieve these wonderful results. I will give you two examples of the importance of the workforce. Yesterday, I was with a company. I won't tell you what company this is. This is a non-Mexican company. They wanted to invest in Mexico, and they said, we are coming to Mexico because of two reasons. First, because in my country, I cannot find skilled workforce, and second, because of the wonderful things you have here. You have a lot of young people, and you have 15 universities. There are 15 universities or educational institutions with which we are working hand in hand to be able to develop the current and future requirements of the workforce. These are very constant experiences. The mayor of Nayarit came to visit me yesterday, and she explained that the municipality wants to strengthen the skills in tourism by certifying adequate tourism services so that when people arrive in Nayarit, they may say, people do not only smile, they solve my requirements in terms of service. We are working to offer a customized package so that they can be certified in services in this municipality. No doubt, the workshops that we will be holding today and tomorrow to share the best practices will be core elements so as not to lose the vision, so as not to lose the direction regarding the competitiveness needs that we have in good technologies, best practices, and the needs for the region, which for 30 years has been consolidated with very specific sectors. Challenges are present. TAMEC is a wonderful tool that will allow us to be successful when we work jointly and in a coordinated fashion. And this is what we're doing today here. We have heard some of the examples that are being done in the Mexican Republic. To be successful, we will continue working not only from the Ministry of Economy together with the Ministry of Labor, CONOCER, the Ministry of Public Education, but also with all the allies, our friends from the United States and Canada, always to find the best practices and routes to implement such works. The development of labor force is such an important element that none of the public institutions can approach this isolatedly. I mean, we need the collaboration of all of them. And this is a 2030 agenda. The 2030 agenda says in goal 17 that we're required to create partnerships. And these alliances do not only multiply, but they boost the results. And in the 2030 agenda, there are two core topics. First, innovation, and second, better jobs and taking care of the environment. If we do so, if we continue working like this, we will be able to be competitive and provide the welfare that this is what we are competitive for, to provide welfare, as Luisa was saying, to achieve the welfare of our populations, because without them, work makes no sense. Without any further ado, I would like to say that we will continue striving so as not to leave anyone behind. And this is an excellent way of ending this month and starting the next one. And yesterday I gave it the wrong date. So thank you very much and congratulations and the best. I hope you will have the best results after this forum. Thank you so much, Secretary Cloutier. With this, we adjourn the opening ceremony of the Trilateral Forum on the Development of Workforce in North America. Thank you for joining us on site and online. And we are going to start 15 after 10 with the first panel, dialogue among the authorities of Mexico, the United States, and Canada on certifications of labor competencies. We are going to start in 10 minutes. Thank you very much.